Ducati's sleek and formidable power cruiser that has gained wild popularity all around the world, the Diavel 1260, up against the extremely handsome bike from Triumph that just so happens to have the largest production motorcycle engine
in the world,
the Rocket 3R. Both of these bikes are so unique that they are almost in classes of their own, but have just enough similarities to be put head to head to compete for the title of Ultimate Power Cruiser. G'day, I'm Kwackajack and welcome to another episode of the Versus series. Today we have got two of the most powerful, attractive and unconventional motorcycles on the market going head to head in a direct specs comparison to see where they stack up. We'll be analysing the styling, claimed engine and power specs, exhaust notes, weight, suspension and brakes, fuel economy, features and price, and really finding the differences between the two. And while they might seem very distinctively individual, they share quite a lot more in common than you might realise. Now, before we get started, please do me a favour and leave a like on the video and hit subscribe to join our fast growing moto community. Alright, let's get straight into it and have a look at the styling of these two monsters. The Ducati was introduced in 2010 and since then has been tweaked and tuned into the formidable power cruiser that it is today. Looking at the Diavel, we can see elements from other bikes in Ducati's lineup, from the single-sided swing arm to the trellis frame, and these things combine to give it a rather unique look, which I personally really like. It's muscular yet sleek, and it's the kind of bike I'd imagine Batman riding in complete matte black. If you upgrade to the S model, you also get the glossy grey and matte black paint with touches of sporty yellow throughout. The Triumph Rocket 3 on the other hand was first brought out in 2004 and made quite a splash. It started as a kind of naked roadster, but has developed into a high-class touring legend. It has an extremely muscular yet classy design, and I think it's a very handsome looking bike. I'm a big fan of the side exhaust pipes and single-sided swing arm, and even though this is a very big motorcycle, they've done a good job of not making it look that way. The red colour scheme is a real winner, and I have to commend Triumph for such a good looking bike. Oh, also, take a look at those rear wheels. They are humongous. Styling comes down to personal opinion, and both look great. However, if you're choosing a bike like this and spending this much money, I think it has to be said that part of the reason would be for how much it stands out, and the drama it causes when seen by onlookers. And for me, the Triumph I think is the bigger head turner. But let me know down below which one you think looks better. On to the real stars of the show, the engines. The Diavel 1260 is rocking a 1262cc Ducati Testastretta DVT L-twin engine. This motor was introduced in the Multistrada and has also featured in the X Diavel, but here it's been optimized via mapping for maximum performance and to be more aggressive and sporty. That means it pushes out a very healthy 162 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 129 Newton meters of torque at 7,500. That is a lot of power and should ensure that no matter which gear you're in, you'll have a feeling of limitless power. With claims of 0 to 100k times in 2.7 seconds and covering the quarter mile in 9.98 seconds, this machine will have you moving faster than pretty much everything else on the road. Reviewers also claim that the engine feels and responds like a sports bike, but will just as happily cruise smoothly around town. While the Ducati is rocking an impressive engine, the Triumph takes it to another level entirely. The Rocket 3 features a 2,458cc water-cooled inline 3-cylinder, which holds the title of largest production motorcycle engine
in the world.
That's right, it is packing a 2.5 litre monster of a motor. The numbers that come from it are 165 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and a gargantuan 221 Newton meters of torque at only 4,000 RPM. That's really down low to be making that power, and apparently it's possible to be doing over 160 Ks at only 3,000 RPM. It's hard to really wrap your head around how much torque this thing can make, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it being used to uproot trees. It also has a claimed 0 to 100 time of 2.7 seconds and can run down the quarter mile in only 10.5 seconds. As for which one wins in this department, well, the Rocket 3 triumphs over the Ducati Diavel in terms of pure numbers, being double the size, making 3 more horsepower, but 92 more Newton meters of torque. This thing really does have unlimited power and earns its rocket namesake. That's not taking anything away from the Ducati though, which still has an amazing engine. Let's also have a listen to the stock exhausts of both bikes. Moving on, and we come to weight. Here's where the Diavel catches up. The Ducati has a wet weight of 249 kilograms, which is by no means light, but compared to the Triumph is the clear winner. Having that big donk of an engine in the Rocket means that in running order and fueled, it's sitting with a weight of around 317 kilograms. Triumph claims to have reduced the overall weight by around 40 kilograms or 15% from the older models, which considering the size is a pretty substantial achievement. Once moving, it's claimed that that weight fades away and it doesn't feel like a 317 kilogram motorcycle. But nevertheless, the Diavel 1260 is the winner in the weight department, being a big 68 kilograms lighter than the Rocket. Okay, onto suspension and brakes. There are two versions of the Diavel 1260. The base model up front has got a 50mm adjustable upside down fork, and a monoshock which is preload and rebound adjustable along with the single-sided swing arm at the back. If you upgrade to the S model, that gets boosted up to a fully adjustable Öhlins system to really be able to tweak it to your liking. For a bike of this size, it is meant to handle surprisingly well, and that's due to Ducati taking extra care in this department to fit it with high quality parts. You also have a seat height of 780mm and an ergonomic setup somewhere between a traditional cruiser and a sport bike. As for brakes, they have equipped it at the front with two 320mm semi-floating discs, radial mounted Brembo monoblock 4-piston M432s with PR1819 radial master cylinder. At the back, it's got a 265mm disc with Brembo 2-piston floating caliper. The Diavel also comes with advanced cornering ABS. They really haven't cheaped out on the brakes here, and it should provide more than ample stopping power for the size of the bike. Over on the Triumph, for its suspension, it's got Showa 47mm upside down cartridge front forks, which are compression and rebound adjustable, and at the back, a fully adjustable Showa piggyback reservoir RSU with remote hydraulic preload adjuster and, again, a single-sided swing arm. It's running with a seat height of 773mm, and reviewers have claimed that while of course this is a very large bike, weight-wise, it does a surprisingly good job of tackling corners and managing that heft. For its brakes, it's equipped with dual 320mm discs, bitten by Brembo M430 Stylema 4-piston radial monoblock calipers at the front, and at the rear, a single 300mm disc with Brembo M432 4-piston calipers at the back. Man, that's a mouthful. The Rocket also has cornering ABS. This one is hard to call because both manufacturers have done really well to endow their bikes with very high quality turny and stoppy bits. If you don't go for the upgraded S model of the Diavel, you will be getting the better suspension unit on the Triumph. And as for brakes, well, they're very close, with the Triumph again having a larger rear disc. In the real world though, the Ducati will be the better handling bike. It's a lot lighter and has great equipment, and is more set up to tackle corners and the track. That's not to say that the Rocket can't though. The way I see it, comparing these two is like looking at the differences between a katana and a broadsword. The Ducati is a large yet sleek bike designed to cut through and be fast, where the Triumph is big and noble, designed to be unstoppable once moving. So as for who comes out on top in this department, it's up for debate. As for an area which isn't, is fuel economy. Let's get one thing straight. Both of these bikes have huge engines that, if used for anything other than cruising down the highway, will probably empty your tank pretty fast. However, the Ducati is equipped with a 17-litre tank and has an average claimed consumption of 5.5 litres per 100 Ks. That gives it an estimated range of over 300 kilometers per tank. The Triumph, on the other hand, does have a slightly larger 18-litre tank, but with that huge lug, has an average consumption of 6.82 litres per 100 Ks, which means that its estimated range is sitting closer to 260 Ks. The Ducati will be the better bike when it comes to fuel economy, and takes the win in this department. Now we come to features, an area that both bikes excel in. For the price you're paying for both bikes, which we'll get to in just a second, you'd expect the bike you're getting to have top shelf specs and features, and thankfully both of them do. There is a long list for both bikes, so I'm just going to read out the notable ones for each. On the Ducati Diavel, they are Bosch electronic fuel injection and ride-by-wire system, single-sided swing arm, riding modes, power modes, 6-axis IMU, Bosch cornering ABS, traction control, wheelie control, full LEDs, power launch, self-cancelling indicators, cruise control and hands-free, backlit handlebar switches, and a 3.5-inch color TFT display. If you want to upgrade to the S model, you will get that Bosch suspension kit and quick shifter, as well as a few other goodies like access to Ducati Link app and that new paint scheme. For the Triumph Rocket, the notable features include fully adjustable suspension and high quality brakes, that single-sided swing arm, full color TFT display which is actually angle adjustable as well, Bluetooth functionality with turn-by-turn navigation, full LEDs, ride-by-wire throttle, 4 riding modes, top shelf IMU with cornering ABS, traction control, cruise control, keyless ignition, hill hold control, and under-seat USB. There are also a range of optional accessories that can be added on, and a GT model which lowers the seat to 750mm and gives you a pillion backrest and small visor. Each bike might have 1 or 2 things that the other doesn't, but are both very well equipped, and I don't think you'd find anything missing. It's a tie in the features department. Now lastly we come to price, and look, there's no way around it, both bikes are expensive. Fitted with huge engines, top spec parts, and a range of features, it is really to be expected that neither will be cheap. You're also in part paying for the name, with Ducati and Triumph being respected and high quality brands. So, for the Ducati Diavel 1260, here in Australia, you'll be paying $31,800 right away for the base, and $37,700 for the S version. The Triumph, however, is $34,500 right away for the base, and that goes up by about $1,000 for the GT and then more for the 221 models. So in the price category, for the base models, the Ducati is the winner, with it being able to be bought for around $2.5K cheaper than its rival. But this presents us with the question, which one would you have? Both machines are high quality, top spec muscle cruisers that, while are similar in a lot of ways, are also very different. The Diavel is clearly designed to be the sportier motorcycle, with the sleeker design, tuned engine and suspension that will handle the corners better, where the Rocket 3 is really just a high-class power cruiser with an absolutely bonkers engine. It's heavier and you will probably drain the tank a lot faster, but I think it also has the more eye-catching design and prominence with it for wherever you go. So which would you choose? I myself find it hard to decide because I love the design of the Rocket, but ultimately think I would go for the Diavel. I just imagine it would be the easier bike to live with day to day with the smaller overall size. But let me know your choice down in the comments below. And while you're there, give me some suggestions for which 2 bikes you'd like to see compared next. Thanks for watching guys, until next time. See ya!